Hello children, in previous class we have studied about magnetic separation, sublimation, separation of solid from liquid in that insoluble impurities, in that sedimentation, decantation, loading and filtration. Let's continue with the lesson.
Separation of soluble solids from liquid. Many solutes are soluble in liquid and they form a homogeneous solution. Example, sugar dissolved in water and milk. Can you separate sugar from water by filtration or by sedimentation? No. There are different methods which are used to separate soluble components present in solution. First is evaporation. Next is separation of dissolved substances from water. Water dissolves many things. If we add sugar in water, it forms a solution. Here, sugar is a solute and water is solvent. Evaporation and distillation are the two methods used to separate dissolved substances from water. Evaporation. Soluble substances in water can be separated by heating the water. When all the water gets evaporated, we get soluble substances. The process of separating soluble substances in water by heating is called evaporation. Here, the water is converted into water vapor. We know that seawater contains salt. Salt is crystallized out or separated from seawater by evaporation. Seawater is trapped in shallow lakes and is left to stand there. The sun's heat gradually evaporates the water and salt is left behind. Distillation. Distillation is a very good method for purifying water. In this method, we can also collect the water vapor and change it back to water by cooling. For example, take some salt water in a retort. Connect this retort to another flask called condensing flask. When water present in the retort is heated, water vapor is formed and it is collected in the condensing flask, where it changes into drops of water. The salt is left behind in the retort. The water collected in the condensing flask is called distilled water. Distilled water has minimum impurities, hence it is used in laboratories for performing specific chemical reactions. It is also used in pharmaceutical companies for manufacturing medicines. Next is centrifugation. Centrifugation. The centrifuge is a machine that rotates at very high speed and centrifugal force substances of different densities are separated. This method is used to separate suspended particles of a substance from liquid. The process of centrifugation is widely used in dairies to separate cream from milk and curd. Ghee. The word ghee comes from a Sanskrit word grith, which means clarified butter. Ghee is a form of butter which is made by melting butter at a certain temperature. The solid residue that is left is discarded and the liquid ghee is sieved and kept for use. Ghee originated in the Indian subcontinent. Now it is popular in South Asia and Middle East countries. They also use this in various religious practices and traditional medicines. There are numerous benefits of ghee. It boosts weight loss, improves digestion, relieves inflammation, cure cough and cold, and reduces dryness of skin and hair. It has a lot of nutrition value as it comprises fat and vitamin A. India is the leading producer and consumer of ghee made from cow and buffalo milk. Separation of liquids from liquids. First one, fractional distillation. Fractional distillation is a special case of distillation which is used for separating more than one component present in a mixture. It is used to separate different components like petrol, kerosene, and diesel from crude oil obtained from the earth crust. In this method, a fractionating column is used which collects different components of a mixture. Next is separating funnel. Tell me what happens when oil is added to water. Oil comes on the surface of water. Very good. Two immiscible liquids from separate layer like oil and water. A separating funnel can be used to separate these liquids. The funnel has a stopper at the bottom which can be used to drain out one liquid from it. Next is separation of a mixture using more than one method. Think about the following situation. How do you separate all the components of mixture containing water, salt and sand? There are certain mixture for which we require more than one method to separate the components. In this case, a mixture is put in water and the salt is allowed to completely dissolve in it. After this, the solution stands still. After some time, we will observe that the sand will settle down in the beaker. Pour the salt water into another beaker. Now use distillation method to heat this water till water evaporates, leaving behind the salt. What will you do in following situation? Number 1, mixture of water, wood, salt and sand. In this case, the piece of wood are separated through hand picking. Rest of the procedure is same as above. Second situation, mixture of rice grains, pebbles and chaff. In this case, the chaff is removed by winnowing and the pebbles are removed by hand picking. Rice grains are left behind. Next is water, the universal solvent. Tell me whether the following things are soluble or insoluble in water. Salt, sugar, and lemon juice are soluble in water. Very good. Ghee, butter, and sand are insoluble in water. In previous chapter we have studied solute, solvent and solution. Water has the property of dissolving most of the solutes. Due to this unique feature of water, it is called as the universal solvent. The amount of solute that gets dissolved in a solvent depends upon the amount of the solvent and the temperature. Example, if we keep on adding salt to a fixed amount of water, then after some time the water will not dissolve any more salt in it. The salt will just remain undissolved at the bottom of the container in which water is present. At the same time, the solution is said to be a saturated solution. So, saturated solution is a solution in which no more solute can be dissolved at that temperature. To increase the solubility, we can stir or shake it or heat the solution. When we heat a saturated solution with continuous shaking or stirring, then the undissolved solute get dissolved. In the same way, more amount of salt can be dissolved in a hot solution. When this hot solution is cooled to a room temperature, the extra amount of solute get precipitated and it deposited at the bottom of the container. Such a hot solution is called supersaturated solution. The solution that can be added more solute at that temperature to become a saturated solution is called unsaturated solution. Have you tried mixing various things such as salt, sugar, coffee powder, or boost in water? These are mixed either by stirring or heating. Let us know more examples of water as a solvent. First example, our body absorbs food after it is dissolved in water. Second example, waste material from the body are dissolved in water before getting removed from the body. Third example, chemical reactions occurring in the body are due to the presence of water. Next example, plant absorb soil nutrients which are dissolved in water. Next example, plant transport the prepared food to different parts through water. Next example, life supporting gases like oxygen are dissolved in water. The aquatic plants and animals breathe this dissolved oxygen.